Hi there, good to have you with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. What are people talking about? Well, you have to really, truly decide that today. Most days on this show, we have a topic, a theme that we present, and we ask for your takes on that topic. But today, Debbie, it's unscripted. Debbie and I have nothing prepared. It's quite simple. So, folks, If you got something you want to talk about that's on your mind, on your heart, going on in the world, you have a concern about something, an opinion about something, a question for me or Debbie, fire away because lines are open right now.
So it's really here, unscripted, 1-800-585-9396. We believe this is going to be a fun, fast-paced, and entertaining show today. A great way to go into the weekend. So don't let us down. This is your opportunity. Kind of a free-for-all today. Here come the phone calls. Wow, here we go. 1-800-585-9396. It's unscripted here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. You can ask anything you want, something that's going on in your life. If you have a future show topic you'd like us to address, something you want to ask Jerry or myself or whatever, something about EWTN, whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, it's your show. 1-800-585-9396. Can you tell I'm excited about this, Jerry?
Yeah, and there are always things going on that we're thinking about, we have opinions about, comments, takes on, like something simple, like what are your Labor Day weekend plans? Football season is back. Are you excited about that? How do you prepare for Mass on Sunday? You're struggling with something in your life. Maybe you're getting married or have a birthday coming up sometime soon. Or are you going to the EWTN family celebration? If so, what are you looking forward to? Yeah. Or questions for me and Debbie about us and our ministries. And you have to get through Matt Gabensky, who can be a real bulldog sometimes on the phone.
He's a sweetheart. I know.
He's so easy to talk to.
I love talking to him. Plus, you get to listen live, Jerry. You don't miss a thing. Look at these phone calls coming in so fast and furiously. I love it. I keep saying, Jerry, I think we should do an unscripted every week or every month. I just think it's a great opportunity for just to kind of put all our thoughts together and our questions and our concerns and kind of have that melting pot and that brainstorming and move forward. And it's a great way to keep the family, the Take Two family, journeying together. I just think it's as you can tell, I'm just passionate about unscripted. I think it's just a really fun thing. And I'm not even nervous. I mean, you can add, I feel
that might change. Hey, how about are you going, if you're going to Mother Teresa's canonization, you're probably not listening to us because you're probably in Rome right now, but how do you feel about Mother Teresa's canonization? If you're a Catholic Christian, you're probably beaming, you're excited, but what do you think about how the world just always finds these little and sometimes even not so little things to nitpick a saint or a saint-to-be about? Does that get under your skin? 1-800-585-9396. Maybe you've had a prayer answered that you just want to say, hey, hallelujah, praise God, I was praying for this, and God came through for me. So really, again, today is all about you. You get to drive this show, literally. Here you go. The keys are yours. Let us hear from you. 800-585-9396.
And if you can't get in right away, just wait for an open phone line when we finish with a caller, and you can just jump right in, like Jerry said, at 1-800-585-9396. You can ask me a question. You can ask Jerry a question. We can talk about ministry. We can talk about church, community, anything that is on your mind and your heart. Because, listen, this is so important, dear listeners. We want to walk away from this hour a little bit changed, a little bit better, a little bit closer to God. How awesome is that? 1-800-585-9396. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Can we go to the calls, Jerry? I'm getting so...
Why not? Well, lines are full. Let's jump to calls right away.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, Ron, you are first up listening to EWTN Radio in Virginia Beach, Virginia. By the way, I love that area, Ron. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Thank you very much. Hi, how are y'all?
Doing real well. Thanks, Ron.
Great. I wanted to find out how Mother Teresa has influenced both of your lives.
Wow, Debbie, you want to go first?
Ron's voice sounds so familiar. It just sounds so familiar. But Ron, have you
maybe he's called before?
I was just going to say, have you called before, Ron?
No, I've listened to you for almost a year now, but no, I have never called before.
Oh, okay. Well, so do you want me to go first? How Mother Teresa has
Sure. Ladies
Influence?
first.
Mother, well, in many ways. I mean, too many to express on this short amount of time that we have together. But I shared before that when I was an adult formation director at the parish, I had a sign that changed every month in my office, and it had a different Mother Teresa quote. I am passionate about the quotes that the words that she shared, the sayings, because I found that when you look at them and read them, they seem so simple, but yet they are so amazingly powerful and profound. And it just, I would have people leave my office and they would ask if they could take the sign with them. They would ask me where I got the quote from. And it was just a great conversation starter and a way for people to really meditate on their faith and explore their faith. And Mother Teresa just had that way about her. She came to Arizona many years ago, and I got to see her from a distance in the stadium. And just from being several hundreds of feet away, I was impacted by her presence. And she was such a tiny woman in stature, but she was so huge in the way she loved our Lord, and it just kind of multiplied. So I can go on and on, Ron, but that's a little bit about how Mother Teresa has impacted my life. Jerry?
I would say real quickly two things. One, her unwavering conviction of truth. She would be in situations, circumstances like speaking to governments, or I don't know if she ever spoke to the UN, but she would speak to governments or at college graduations or whatever, and she was just uncompromising. She wasn't mean about it, but she just talked about abortion and things like this, and just really convicted me. And then the other thing was her, as it's come out, the years and years and years she spent in darkness really have just amazed me, that she still, through all of that, just got up every day and said, I am in this horrible darkness. I don't know where God is, but I know He's there, and I know He's worthy of my service. So I think it was just profound. And by the way, our show on Monday, on Labor Day, is about Mother Teresa with Donna Marie Cooper O'Boyle. So, Ron, does that answer your question for you?
It does. I got to meet Mother Teresa as well many years ago at the National Shrine in Washington, D.C. I was working up there, and a friend of mine said that she was there, and I knew that she was going to be a saint one day, so it was just beautiful to see her too. So I think I'm very happy that she's going to be a saint this weekend.
Oh, that's wonderful,
Amen.
Ron. We're so glad you called in and asked us that question. It was wonderful, and we're so happy that she impacted your life as well. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for listening for a year, and keep calling. God bless you. Okay, we're going to move right along to Sarah. You have been waiting, and you are next up listening on EWTN Radio in Detroit, Michigan on Ave Maria Radio. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you guys were able to take my call. I was actually trying to call you yesterday, and you guys just ended before I got on. So yesterday on your show, you guys were talking about healthcare and the rising cost of healthcare. And, there was some question of, is there a Catholic ministry that does this? And the answer is yes. And it's called CMF Hero. My husband and I are members. And what it is, it's a health-sharing ministry. So when you have a need, like let's say, this actually happened to my husband back in February where he had kidney stones and he had to get a lot of the laser treatments and everything, and it was completely covered. People sent us checks, and prayer letters of I hope you feel better, and we're praying for you. And there's this one. Hello.
Oh, we're
Hello?
here. We're here.
We are here, Sarah.
I heard some beeping, and one of the prayer cards that was sent to us was written by, I think she was 3 or 4 years old, and she made us a card. She made my husband a card, and it had said, I'm praying for you, and she didn't spell prayer right because she's 3 and 4, and she drew crosses, and it was the cutest little thing. We were just crying, that she made this for him. A 3 or 4 year old is praying. You don't get that when you have insurance. when you pay the insurance company, who knows, it could be going to fund their salary, their really big salaries. But with this ministry, you're sending your monthly share check to another family in need. And so, and even the mom wrote on the card that, sorry, this is backwards, she's 30. But it was just an awesome feeling to receive all these checks. And every month we get a share letter that says, where we should send our monthly, checks to. Sometimes it's for someone who's pregnant and, needs to cover those medical expenses. It's just an amazing experience. So I just wanted to tell everyone that, with the rising cost of health care, you should really look into CMS Hero. You could be saving so much money, and you're not even going to be paying for things that you don't believe in, like abortion and contraception, and you're going to give it to someone that's in need of your share check.
Yeah, and Sarah is referring to our program yesterday on healthcare in the United States, and CMF Curo is Christus Medicus Foundation, if I have the name right. Let me see. Christ Medicus Foundation, a living healthcare ministry. It's got the support of Cardinal Burke, Bishop Boyer of Lansing, Archbishop Aquila of Denver, a friend of ours, and founder David Wilson has been on EWTN News Nightly. So I will post a link for people to find information about that on the take2show.com website. How's that sound, Sarah?
Yeah, there's like a 1-800 number. But if you have they'll get directly to that person. But the person that you really want to talk to is Michael. He's head of the membership program, and his number is 734-582-3688. That's his direct line. And he will help you. He's the guy to talk to.
All right. Sounds good.
Does sound good. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for that call, and thank you for keeping the conversation going. That's what we like on Take Two. And speaking of that, dear listeners, please go to EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook. You can post your comments there, and also like EWTN Facebook page. We want to get to 10,000 likes probably before the end of the year if we can do it with your help. So don't forget to do that as well. Okay, so we're going to just hit the pause button for just a little bit. There is an open phone line if you'd like to jump right in on Take Two. This is Unscripted. You can ask whatever you like today. This is your day. 1-800-585-9396. As a matter of fact, every show of Take Two is your show. So that's what's so beautiful about it. We're a family. So stay with us. This is Unscripted. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher. We'll be right back.
Don't wait another minute. Now is the time to make your plans for the 2016 EWTN Family Celebration. September 17th and 18th are the dates, and Birmingham, Alabama is the place for our celebration of the life and legacy of Mother Angelica. We'll have Holy Mass and Confession, Family Corner, and you can shop for holy reminders at EWTN Religious Catalog. And best of all, it's free. For more information, go to EWTN.com/family celebration.
You can listen to EWTN Radio at any time of day or night. Audio on demand brings all your favorite programs, recently broadcasted shows, prayers, and devotions instantly to you. And it's free. For more, visit EWTNapps.com.
Colin Donovan.
Entering university, I had the religious understanding of someone catechized in the 1960s. That changed when a fellow freshman asked me if a Catholic could use the pill. My uninformed answer was, sure, why not? I then went and read Pope Paul VI's encyclical Humanae Vitae and concluded, this is truth. I've never looked back in my love of our Catholic faith since.
Open Line with Colin Donovan. Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Dan Burke from the National Catholic Register.
Hello, this is Bishop David O'Connell of the Diocese of Trenton.
Hi, this is Teresa Tomeo, host of Catholic Connection, and thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
We are back, and we're glad that you are there on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, ending the week, going into the Labor Day weekend with an unscripted show. Basically, what that means is Debbie and I are relying on you to set the table today. Any topic that you want to talk about, questions you want to raise, issues that are going on that are of concern to you. What is your take? Your takes drive the show every day, so this is really working out well. 800-585-9396. We will get to all of you, including Larry, who's next in Erie, Pennsylvania, listening to EWTN Radio on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Larry. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon. I wanted to call in, and I'll preface this call by saying hopefully I'm not too far out there trying to collect my thoughts and keep my emotions in check, but almost 8 or 9 months ago, just kind of, I was I drive a lot, and I was on a lunch break, and I found a Catholic church in the middle of nowhere, and went in and prayed about issues and just feelings I was having about my daughter, who would soon be entering into a Carmelite monastery, and walked back out to my car and turned on the radio with 10 minutes to go, and you guys were having a show on vocations, and I got right through, and it's amazing how the Lord works, and it just really it helped me a lot, and it basically said in my heart, like, I got this, I'm in control, I have the situation here, and, I love you and your daughter, and you guys, the priest gave some really good advice, and very thankful for your prayers, and wanted to say that this weekend, she's in the monastery of the Little Flower of Jesus in Buffalo, New York, and it's her clothing ceremony this weekend where she's taking her vows to become a novice. So, I appreciate more prayers, and also a thank you for prayers and support, and just pretty awesome thing. But emotionally, it's still pretty tough, but we're really proud of her. So
Larry,
she will get a new name this weekend, and we're pretty excited about this.
Larry, we remember your call, and it was providential on many levels, and how beautiful it is. Just like you said, it's a perfect timing. God works that way, and you turned on the radio, and thank goodness that the Take Two family was there to offer you prayer support, and we're grateful to God right now and how beautiful it is, and thank you for taking the time. So many times when so many of us are praying, we never get to see the end result or the fruits of it. But by you taking the time to call back, we can journey with you together and continue that process. And so it makes it all the more beautiful. So thank you for this wonderful follow-up call, and we wish you many, many blessings in your beautiful family.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Larry. Wow. That pretty much makes my day, I'll tell you. And I love what they call it, the clothing ceremony.
Yes, isn't that wonderful?
Thanks, Larry. Will you keep us updated as well on how the progress goes with your daughter?
Yes, I will. I will actually, when she gets her name, I will call up and at least pass that on what her new name is. Only Mother Miriam knows what her name will become. We're pretty excited to find out.
Do you have any wishes of what that name will be, Larry?
That becomes kind of emotional, I think, for me. So I've been trying not to focus on it, because in my heart as a dad, it's like it's another major step away, but in the right direction, but away from being my daughter to being a daughter of our Lord. And I better just stop. I'll become too emotional. But no,
Larry.
I haven't been.
Okay, good. Well, this is great news. Congratulations. Thanks, and appreciate the call. 1-800-585-9396. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, ending this week with an unscripted program. Basically, anything that you have going on. We've got a birthday coming up. Maybe you're getting married sometime soon. If you have suggestions for future show topics for me and Debbie, we would love to receive those from you. Questions about me, about Debbie, anything that you want to know about this program, 1-800-585-9396. And from Erie, Pennsylvania, we go to Nebraska. Roman, listening to EWTN Radio on Spirit Catholic Radio. Hi, Roman. Welcome to the program. Hey, Roman.
Hi, Roman.
There, Roman?
Roman?
Sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay. Did you step away
That's
from
all right,
the phone?
Roman.
That's
Debbie,
okay.
Debbie and I are unscripted today, but you have to have something to say.
Yeah, no, I was actually I was working as on speaker. I was painting.
Oh, good.
Really? Look, multitasking. I love it.
Right. I work at a Catholic college. Anyways,
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one comment before I ask my question about Blessed Mother Teresa. The only thing I ever listen to is Catholic radio, and that comes up as the main thing I do is try to say a prayer for those, change of heart, those that, that say anything against it. But my question was, I'd actually try with think, oh, really? Now they're calling me.
Uh-oh.
Tell them you're busy on EWTN radio.
Well, if you want to be real quick, if you've got a question, yeah, go ahead and fire away, and then we can answer it, and hopefully you can listen if you have to go, Roman. But
he's coming down. Is it true? I don't remember where I heard it, and my wife says, don't ask our priest, he won't know the answer. Is it true when you offer up a Mass for somebody, well, if they are still in purgatory, during that Mass, they are relieved of all their suffering?
Do you want me to go? You go first, Jerry.
Well, yeah, Roman, here's kind of the deal on that. Souls in purgatory are being purified. Most of us anyway, not all of us, most of us die, of course, as you know, with a little bit more attachment to self and not complete attachment and love for God. So the Church calls this state purification, purgatory. And so we don't really know a lot about it as far as is it a place and what exactly happens, but God just uses this opportunity to kind of clean us up and get us ready for heaven. Here's the thing. If we offer a Mass for anything, it's going to be efficacious, because the Mass, of course, is the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. God cannot be offered His Son on the altar in the representation of Calvary in the Mass and not be moved to compassion and pity. It's metaphysically impossible for God to not be moved to provide relief from suffering in one situation or another. Now, whether that relieves a soul of all of the purification that's needed or not, that it really is entirely up to God. But Debbie, no Mass is ever wasted, especially when it's offered for a soul in purgatory. I hope I kind of got at the core of that. But Debbie, go ahead and fill in clean up my messes.
No, are you kidding me? No, you clean up my messes all the time. You said it perfectly, Jerry. The only thing that I would add is that, like you said, it never goes praying for the souls in purgatory or offering Masses. They're never wasted. We can move the souls in purgatory along in a quicker pace by praying for them. One of the worst things we can do is, and this is I've heard this said many times, Jerry, one of the worst things we can do here on earth is to assume that our loved ones automatically made it to heaven without passing through purgatory, because it's an opportunity for us to pray for them here, because they can't pray for themselves in purgatory. So we can move them at a quicker pace through purgatory by offering up Masses and praying for them by name. And so here's what's great about that. When you say, does it relieve them of pain, it moves them along faster. So as you know, when you're going through a period of pain, if you can get through it as fast as possible, it makes it that much more bearable. So I hope I added to that, Jerry.
Yeah, well, we're going to need your mercy in the next couple of months. Roman and all of us should keep in mind praying for what we usually typically call the holy souls in purgatory. They are saved. They are going to heaven. It's just a matter of, in heaven, as the book of Revelation says, nothing unclean will enter heaven. And I think it's 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Paul writes about how our works are going to be burned up, but we may survive, though, as through fire. So purgatory is very biblical, but it's a holy thing to pray for the souls of the dead. It's a spiritual work of mercy. So pray for the souls in purgatory every day. Take two with Jerry and Debbie here on EWTN Radio.
Here's Sarah, a real mom with real reasons for sending her kids to a Catholic school.
We were thinking public schools at first, and then we started looking around at our local Catholic school, and you can't walk through the doors of that school without feeling the Holy Spirit's presence in there. We came home and basically said, okay, how are we going to do it? So we have to budget, and our kids, probably don't have all the latest electronics and things that all the other kids do, but I think that's a really great life lesson for our kids. What things you want to compromise on and what things you want to have prioritized in your life, and we've never had a day of regret since we did that. I also know that there are opportunities for help out there for people who want to attend Catholic schools and maybe can't afford it. I would really encourage them to sit down with their pastor, sit down with the principal, and just see what can be worked out. Because if it's as important to them as it was to us, I know that there has to be a way to do it.
Contact a Catholic school near you. Take a tour and ask questions. To find a Catholic school near you, visit the website for your diocese or archdiocese.
You have a voice in your head. How did he know that, the voice just said? Because we all do. And the words you speak to yourself matter a lot. Our words shape our self-perception. Our self-perception shapes our actions. Our actions shape our lives. Words are at the foundation of our whole lives. What words do you speak to yourself? The book of Revelations calls the devil the accuser of our brothers. He wants us to amplify the negative words in our heads. God reveals the truth about who we are. But he didn't do that so you wait for me to preach it to you. Preach it to yourself. When the voice within starts saying, I'm weak, used, washed up, not pretty enough, skinny enough, smart enough, I'll never be enough, replace that with words like, I'm blessed, I'm chosen, I'm beautiful, I am a son or a daughter of the King of Heaven. I don't mean that figuratively, I mean it literally. Look in the mirror and preach the truth to yourself. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
We're so glad you joined us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. This is Unscripted today. You can ask whatever you wish. And it's important because it's what you have to say and it's what's on your heart. So call in. There's an open phone line. I'm looking at a blank line right now, and that could be yours if you quickly dial 1-800-585-9396. Okay, we're going to move right along to Ching in Maine, listening to EWTN Radio. Hi, Ching. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hello. Hi, Ching.
Hello, Ching.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So what's up?
My question is, my husband has a middle-age crisis and wanted divorce, and then now it involved my 8-year-old daughter, and he has a lawyer. I just don't know. Should I rely on God to just go to the court by myself, or I definitely should have a lawyer?
Ching, let me ask you a question first. So are you saying that there's no way to reconcile, there's no way to go to your minister or priest and talk to somebody, and you're saying this has gone this far where you are definitely being forced to divorce?
Yes. I tried to find my pastor, and I talked to him, and then I urged him to contact my husband, and he did, but I don't know what they talked, but the pastor just said to me that if he doesn't want to reconcile, and then there's nothing he can do.
So your pastor advised you to just go along with what the court's moving along with the divorce?
The pastor didn't say that. It's just he prayed for me.
Right.
And then I don't know.
Right. Well, Ching, here's the thing. You may want to reach out again to your parish or your church and seek some advice and support, because it's never good to go through all of this alone. I can tell you this from experience. I'm a firm believer that when there are no other options ahead of you in place that you can control, I would not show up in a courtroom by myself. Absolutely not, because you have to make sure that your future is at least being taken care of, so that you're not struggling to try and get past the divorce. And a lawyer can help with that. So that's just my personal opinion. I would never go into a courtroom without representation, legal representation. But I still think that it seems like you need to really have a support system around you, because emotionally, psychologically, physically, you don't want to go through this alone. And so I would reach back out to the church and see if you can enlist some people and clergy to just be around you, help you, hold you up in prayer, and maybe actually, Jerry, you just brought it up, Rose Sweet. You can reach her on rosesweet.com. She's a great person to talk to. She has a unbelievable amount of experience in marriage and relationships and divorce and annulments, and she's a wonderful person to talk to. Maybe she can provide some resources for you. rosesweet.com. That's how you can reach her. So does
how to spell rosary? Rosary.
No, Rose Sweet. Rose, R-O-S-E, Rose like a rose,
yes.
and then Sweet, just like she's super sweet, S-W-E-E-T. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ching, keep us posted. We're going to be praying for you. The Take Two family will be praying for you, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ching, for the phone call. All right, Unscripted, moving along here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, heading into a long weekend. Hope that you have some real special plans, maybe family, friends, hopefully a little bit of rest and relaxation. 1-800-585-9396. Pretty much anything that's on your mind you want to bring up, we can talk about. David, we're going to go to you next in Minnesota, listening to EWTN Radio on Real Presence Radio. Welcome, David. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, David.
I'll just be quick because I could actually take the entire rest of your program. Jerry and Debbie. Debbie, you know me a little bit more. About a month ago, I had talked about the situation with empty nesters. And here's where we're at. Prayers are always wonderful. We and many people help support others, and I appreciate the Take Two family. I feel that everyone is in there together feeling, and if whatever I express on the airwaves, maybe somebody else expresses that and feels that the same way. And I know, Debbie, you've brought that out in more than one opportunities of our conversations. My biggest questions are, both for my wife and myself, are prayers that are unanswered. My wife feels that she's just like St. Monica, always waiting, always waiting. And yes, we know in God's time, on His terms, and maybe He has a better plan for us. And I would probably say that it's not a 9-month window. It's maybe at a point of where everybody in our family, which is my wife and myself, questions, well, is it something that I might have done? I might have said? Is it something that God doesn't want us to be? Or is it actually God's will that we should be having this suffering, carrying the cross? And if you don't have too many phone calls, I've got other comments, but prayers that go unanswered. If either of you two want to comment on that, I'd certainly appreciate getting a little bit of feedback.
Sure, David. Well, we do have full phone lines here, but we will give you some time because this is very important, and it's something that a lot of people are going through. You are now empty nesters. Your kids are not only, as you say, out of the house, but apparently out of the church in terms of at least an active practice of their Catholic faith. Unanswered prayers, are they unanswered? God certainly has heard them, and He certainly, I always like to say, David, that nobody wants your kids to be close to God and practicing their faith more than God does. So this is a prayer that is very, very, I think, very special to God's heart. And a couple things I wanted to say. First of all, parenting doesn't come with a manual. I have never raised kids, so I can't speak from personal experience. But there is no, parents are you're going to do the best you can. And if you've raised your kids to know that the faith is true and that they ought to be practicing that, then you can lay your head on your pillow at night, you and your wife, feeling being at peace about that. But I wanted to ask you, as far as your trust in God, it may be taking longer than you want, David, but do you actually have confidence that God can answer this prayer and bring your kids back? That's an important issue, I think.
There comes to be the question of, is it God's will? And then, yes, we would imagine it would be God's will that He would want our sons to come back into our family, as well as to the Catholic faith family. So that would be the obvious. And yes, we do have faith that God can overcome many things. We do personally, of our life, we have seen small little miracles that God does perform. We know and feel His presence. But boy, I tell you, from the family, then you look at employment, and you look at maybe health, and you look at other factors that come out through the life, and we think, oh my gosh, is it like a plague? Is it something that we might have said? Is it something that God is sending us through, this extra sufferings that we are, extra things that are bearing on us, not only with our sons, but life in general? And we stopped and questioned, what is life? And holy smokes, and I do appreciate the thoughts of everybody else by they are releasing or sharing that things such as, the individual that just had the Carmelite sister of his daughter, and I'll just throw this in real quick, and I thought it was Joe, but I may be wrong, but I do appreciate his thoughts and feelings of what he's actually going through. And Debbie, I think you would agree, that's one feeling. The other feeling is the emptiness when you have a son that leads the family, and there is no vision. There is no ship out there. They're just bouncing around on the seas. Right. So, yeah, we do believe in God. We know He has trusting powers. We're just not seeing it at the present time.
Right, but
and
Dave,
not in just our family situation with our sons, but in life in general.
Sure.
But yes, go ahead, Debbie.
David, no, I was just going to say it's good to hear from you, and please tell Mary Kay we give her our love as well. And you guys are great. You're great parents, and you're both great prayer warriors together. And I just feel in my heart of hearts, even when I spoke with you guys, that you guys, this is a lesson in patience, and you're not alone. There's so many things that are unanswered in our lives. If you took 20 people and lined them up and you said, is there something you've been praying for a long time, you probably would get 20 different answers, because that is what is happening in so many people's lives. And the only thing I would encourage you, David, is that you and your wife are a beautiful bond together, and hold on to that strength, that perseverance in prayer, that patience, and trust. Here, this is going to sound weird. Trust in the not knowing. Trust, because God is in control. That we are certain of. And David, I have been praying for you and your family nonstop since we've spoken, and I know the Take Two family has done this as well. And thank you for calling in again. And please know that when you see those little drops of miracles, if you will, or signs that God is in control, hold on to those. And they become more and more and more. So I just want to give you that sense of hope, David, and to you and your beautiful wife, and sending you my heart to you guys. So I hope that brings you a little bit of sunshine today.
All right, David, we do, as you said, we do have a lot of calls, and really appreciate the opportunity to interact with you about this. And as Debbie said, prayers will abound. Remember Luke 15, the prodigal son. Sometimes it takes our wayward children to come to their senses and then realize they need to return to the Father's house. So, David, that will happen. Just persevere in prayer, and God will be good about answering that. We can be pretty sure of that. We're going to go next to Mary in Niles, Michigan. Listen to EWTN Radio on Redeemer Radio. Mary, we're so glad to have you with us today. Welcome.
That's me?
That's you, Mary.
That's you, Mary. How are you?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yesterday there was a Mary who called, and at the end of her call, then either Jerry or Debbie made, for everybody to kind of be alert because of the end-of-life problems, and that maybe coming down the road, people would be pushed to kind of leave early. And here we are in Michigan. There's no assisted suicide, but people here who haven't even thought about assisted suicide. Some people, we just see from experience that people are getting bumped over the edge, and sometimes it's pressured by doctors or pressured by family, pressured by. One of my worst experiences was with hospice. And not all hospices, I'm sure there's many good ones, but this one was like where people would come in and if the attitude was, why aren't you dead yet? You know, it was, they promised that you'll still have care, but one of the nurses came in and said, is he still taking his heart medicine? They would talk over the patient. They didn't ever say, well, you know, hello, Mr., you know, how are you doing today? Then we talk right over him, and I'm angry at myself because I didn't throw him out and just go with the cancer service. But the doctors push the hospice, and they don't say, well, if you don't think hospice is the thing for you, we could do this or we could do that or there's something else. It's all driven. You're encouraged to hospice, and I'm a retired RN, so I'm doubly mad at myself for not catching on sooner. But I can just give you lots of examples where of the pressure of doctors or sometimes family, like, well, they're going to die of such and such anyway. Why can't we hurry it up? I've got to get back to my business.
Right.
Stuff like that. It's really bad. And I think I was worried because you're thinking, well, watch out for it. It might be coming. I just need people to know it's here.
Sure.
It's here. And it's sinister.
Yeah, and Mary, that you were referring to yesterday's call from Mary from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and she was great at alerting all of us. But I just wanted to say, you said you feel really bad about that you maybe didn't react or respond. But Mary, being a nurse, you're doing the best you can. You're doing the absolute best you can, so I wouldn't beat yourself up over that. I mean, there's so many things happening so quickly, especially during hospice and end of life. One thing I would encourage our listeners is to seek out Catholic hospices, and that would alleviate some of that. I agree with you, Mary. I think it's very unfortunate that we treat the person who is lying there ready to transition into eternity, and we understand that hearing is the last thing to go, and yet we talk around them like they can't hear us. And it's so unfortunate how we treat souls. But the more we talk about it, like on Take Two and other shows, the more we educate people how beautiful the life is from the womb to the tomb, and how God is there and watching everything we do, the better off we will all be. So, Mary, first of all, thank you for being a nurse. Thank you for all the care you have brought to people. Thank you for keeping this conversation going and making all of us rise up and just say, hey, we've got to stop this and respect everyone all the way until they enter into eternity. So I bless you I just want to say blessings to you for the call that you made today, because it helps us to keep it on the forefronts of our minds and hearts. So thank you, Mary.
Oh, thank you.
Mary, and you may be aware, Mary, through your work of the National Catholic Bioethics Center. It sounds like a very high-level intellectual organization, and it certainly is, because these issues do require a lot of intellect and delving into, but they're able to boil these moral issues down, and I have no doubt they have a lot of information and probably Catholic-oriented documents that people can prepare, and just preparations for end of life that are within keeping of Catholic moral teachings. So the National Catholic Bioethics Center can be found at ncbcenter.org for the benefit of all of our listeners. ncbcenter.org is where you'll find that. Mary, thank you so much. We appreciate you listening and calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're going to go over to Melissa in, it looks like Lincolnton, Georgia, listening to EWTN Radio on St. Paul Radio. Melissa, did I get to, is it Lincolnton?
Yes, Lincolnton, Georgia.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind today?
Your call screener was really good, and already kind of gave me a recommendation, but I wanted recommendations on saints who lived during times, I guess it's always been like this, but during times that you just feel overwhelmed, like you're swimming upstream. I also live in New York City, And that is really weird, having lived in Georgia for 20 years and moving to New York City. Like, I have friends that are atheists, and, they'll be like, well, they want to talk about atheism, but if I talk at all about, Christianity or Catholicism, well, we just don't talk about that. And I think you're being forward for mentioning it. And how to get a dialogue going with those kind of people, even just in fairness sake, for goodness sakes. And just what saints could I read about that lived in times and places where, you just feel like, wow, we're just completely the minority, is the way I feel.
Mm. Well, we don't have 10 hours to cover this because pretty much every saint, Melissa.
Yeah.
So, but I'm curious, which saints did Matt suggest? Because Matt Gabinski's great at his theology. What did he suggest?
I believe he said St. Francis.
Yes, good going, Matt. Yes, St. Francis. I would say St. Rita is a great saint. St. Padre Pio, John Paul II, absolutely. Mother Teresa is coming up to be a saint rather soon here, and talk about being just overwhelmed with what's going on in the world and feeling like, wow, people aren't really seeing Christ, and she was Christ to everybody. That would be a great saint. Jerry, you want to add?
Well, I think you like you said, any saint would do, but there are. I think St. Padre Pio would be a good one. St. John Paul II, and what kind of struck me, Melissa, when you mentioned, I think you said you're in New York City, or you referenced New York City in some way, right?
I live in both places. I travel back and forth.
Well, the reason that kind of struck me is he's not a canonized saint, so the church cannot pray to him in any official capacity, but we can pray to holy people who have died in at least our private devotions, and I have done this myself. Father Benedict Groeschel, I don't know if you recall his name. He was on EWTN quite often, and again,
I do.
I'm not advocating. I'm praying. I'd love to see him be canonized someday, and I'm not advocating any kind of improper or public
Angelica.
veneration. Mother Angelica. In our private devotions, we can pray to these people, pray for their help and protection. But Saint Rita, I know Saint Rita is a power. Saint Jude. I mean, Saint Jude has never let anybody down. And of course, our Blessed Mother. What's the prayer? Remember, memorare, right? Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary. Never has it been known that you have, paraphrasing here because of time, but
that anybody that's
failed,
her help. Yep.
was did not receive your help, so it was left unaided. Thank you, Debbie.
Yes, well, it happens
It's Friday.
it happens to be my favorite prayer. I say it every day. The Memorare, Melissa. I love that prayer. I'm glad Jerry brought it up. Saint Anthony, of course. Saint Therese of Lisieux. Saint Teresa of Avila. I mean, we can go on and on and on. But Melissa, here's the thing. These saints have walked before us. They have seen everything, and we can learn from them, and it'll help us when we encounter other souls and to open up dialogue. But the best thing I could share is just like Mother Teresa did in her whole life, just be Christ to others and let the Holy Spirit work and see how it unfolds. I mean, that's the easiest way and the most profound way to accomplish evangelization. Hope that helps, Melissa. God bless you. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. We're going to move right along to John in Texas, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, John. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello. How are y'all?
Doing well, John.
Well, good. Say, I have a question about, us Catholics believe in purgatory, and it's proven in the Bible. And when you talk to Protestants, even though they don't believe in purgatory, will they go to purgatory?
Well, yeah, and when we say what you just said, John, and when we mention Protestants, there's of course a lot of different Protestant traditions and beliefs and so forth. It's funny. I remember when I was in, I think, first grade, I was in a Catholic school, and one of the students mentioned that he or she was Protestant, and I somehow had this at least vague understanding that Protestants, or at least many non-Catholic Christians, believe that when you die, straight to heaven, no purgatory, nothing like this. And I thought to myself, I want to be a Protestant.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, but really, John, to answer your question, yes. I mean, nobody. We all go out the same door, and there is one faith, there is one church, there is one deposit of faith. The wholeness, the fullness of the Christian faith is found in the Catholic Church. So without intending any offense to anyone who doesn't believe in purgatory, we all will have to be in the same place, and that is complete love of God and no love of self in order to get into heaven. So this could apply to anyone of any faith who, by the grace of God and their cooperation with His grace, attains salvation, but still needs some degree of purification. Debbie, go ahead. I've been hogging all this stuff. Sorry.
No, that's exactly right. It's as simple as I teach this with the children, John. With the youth, ask this question all the time. Will my cousin who's Lutheran, have to go to purgatory? Would they ask the same questions? The simplest answer is, an unclean soul, a soul that's not purged of all sin, cannot stand in the beatific vision of God. And so there has to be a sense of purging. Whether they call it purgatory or not, that's not up for me to decide how that works. But here's the thing: a soul that's not purged of all sin cannot stand in the beatific vision. The two they just can't be in the same realm. So we have to be fully purged and cleaned of all sin to be in that beautiful beatific vision. Hope that helps, John. Does that kind of clear it up?
That helped very much. Thank you all very much. I enjoy your show immensely.
Oh, thank you,
Thanks,
John. Have a blessed Labor Day weekend. And Shelley and Joe, tell you what, if either of you are welcome to email us, we got about 80 seconds and the show ends. Our email address is take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com. Joe, we would love to dialogue with you about your question, and Shelley in Ontario, Canada, you as well. Either of you, if you would like to get a hold of us, it's take2 at EWTN.com. So what do you think, Debbie? Unscripted. Should we do it again?
Oh, please, Jerry. I would love to do it again. I thought it was so much fun, and we kind of bounced all around with different topics, and it was great. And I feel like I'm a little bit closer to God, so I hope all of our listeners feel that way as well.
Good.
Jerry?
Plans for the weekend? You and Marty going to do something fun?
A housework.
Oh, no.
I know.
Well, at least grill something, okay? Whatever it is.
Vegetables.
On Monday, Donna Marie Cooper O'Boyle will join me and Debbie. The Kiss of Jesus is her latest book. It's about Mother Teresa, who will be canonized on Sunday, and we'll talk about that on Monday, on Labor Day. Looking forward to that.
So, dear listeners, Take Two family, have a beautiful and blessed weekend. We love you. Thank you so much for making this show special every single day. We'll see you real soon.